Welcome to this Evolving Mindfully pause for practice. I am inviting myself and I'm inviting you to come along with me as I continue to do, to take pauses throughout our days and nights for practicing bringing ourselves into center, bringing ourselves into support of our own nervous systems so that we may continue to move through what all around the collective world and in our hometowns and places and spaces, and for many of us also within the context of our personal and professional lives, we are experiencing uncertainty, things that concern us, things that bring up a range of emotion and reactivity that can push and pull us in multitudes of directions. And so to me, this consistency of practicing has been what has enabled me to continue to show up and not repress, numb, deny, disavow, but to continue to show up and step in with more commitment to doing what I can to meet the moment, whatever the moment holds in whatever area of my life, in a way that for me, my personal sankalpa, as we would call it in yoga, or if you have like an overarching orientation, I think to me is another word I use a lot, an orientation. How do I want to meet life? How do I want to meet my relationships? To me is to support more beautiful relations within us, between us, and among us. And while that may at some times in the world that we're in feel idealistic and so far from attainable, in the biggest picture, when so many powerful forces are kind of wanting to push in directions of more chaos, of less beautiful relations, but I feel like it's ever more like the commitment to hold that down. And so I am really excited to have the opportunity to be blessed with the opportunity to have gathered and collected practices and processes over the course of the last many decades to serve me throughout those decades and in this moment. And by the time you get this, the actions I'll be taking part in over the weekend will have passed. But as I'm filming this, it's a particularly heightened moment. We have tanks rolling into the streets of DC. And I'm in, working groups and organizing groups with people in different parts of the country who are all, preparing to stand up collectively in this moment in ways that take a lot of us outside of our comfort zones. And I know when I really first started getting more involved with direct actions of all different kinds, community actions, advocating on behalf of the things that I care about, I had to move through a lot of internalized conditioning, cultural conditioning, social conditioning, familial conditioning, that told me not to do those things, that it wasn't safe, and that it was best to stay in my lane, keep my head down, and try to do good in my immediate, or in the places and spaces that it was comfortable to do so. And so I want to offer this practice today for myself to continue to step into those places of discomfort, places that are risky and edgy. And for those of us out there who are, because today's not going to be the only day, right, that we can do that, or that we may feel called to do that or need to do that. It's going to be ongoing. So this practice is to cultivate our capacity to stay centered and courageous in the face of uncertainty, chaos, and what can appear really risky. So take a moment, and if you can do this, as always with the practices, I'm going to stand, but you can do it seated, you can do it lying, and you can modify any of the movement suggestions, breath suggestions visualization suggestions in a way that meets you where you are today. So wherever you are taking this from, I'm just going to invite you to begin. If you're seated, you can lean right and left on your hips. If you're standing, you can feel into your feet leaning right and left. If you are lying, you can sort of just feel a sense, you can stretch your legs out right and left like I'm doing standing, but in a lying position. And just begin to feel a sense of length. And you can use your hands as well to open the palms. And take an exhale, the next exhale, and really press down with your feet. And as you inhale, lift up with the other leg, and then exhale, press it down. And take two more like this. Emphasizing the exhale. Let's do two more on each side just to get really in that emphasis. You can let your belly muscles sort of contract back. Feel that strength of your core moving as you exhale. Drawing the energy, the muscular energy, the physical energy, last time, towards the center of your Manipura, this energy center. Let's take the hands here right at the center. Now place the feet, spread the toes. Think about that cat-like energy, tiger pause. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. In the yogic tradition, Durga, she rides a tiger, and she is a fierce goddess who we call upon for protection, and who came forward in a time unlike our time, when there were forces in the world that were acting purely out of greed, personal interest, egoic desire, that were really threatening the well-being and the peace of the whole world. They called upon Durga to come, and she came, and she was able to bring that force, that counter force, which, in the groups that I'm in, right, it's nonviolent direct action, it is love, it is community care, bringing these counter forces to hold steady and strong and stand for what is beautiful, what is nurturing, what is in alignment with the well-beings of all beings. So taking that and just feeling that tiger-like energy through the feet. And then focusing your breath right here. We're going to do Kapalabhati. This is the shining skull breath. And this is a breath that, again, emphasizes the exhale, and it builds energy. And it allows us to draw on the heat that we can produce in our own bodies to build that tapasya, which is what we call it in the yogic tradition, that inner heat, that inner fire, to burn through resistance, to burn through fear, to burn through what holds us back from stepping forward in our courage, from stepping forward in our strength, from stepping forward in our voices. So take a moment and feel into your low belly, where we were just gathering that energy. And this emphasizes the exhale. And I want to say, if you are taking this standing, if at any point that you're doing this breath exercise that you start to feel in any way dizzy, just sit. Just take your body down, sit on the ground. You can even lie, just stabilize yourself, right? Because you don't want to fall over. If you're seated, the same thing. You could just grab a hold of something and lie down, but just be mindful of what begins to stir in you. This is a safe breath practice, but because we're not in a space together where I can be with you, I want to make sure that you're really tracking yourself, and we won't do it too intensely. But this is going to emphasize the exhale. Some of you may be familiar with this, and if you are, you can start some Kapalabhati now. If you're not, I'll guide us slowly into it. So you're going to take an exhale very forcefully through the nose by pulling the abdominals back, and then you release it and you automatically inhale. So you really don't have to take like a deep breath. It will just happen. So exhale. Keep breathing like that. You can take arms up in this power position. You can take your thumbs open like this. This is the mudra for fire. You can hold them out at your side. You can hold them here at Manipura, at the center of the diaphragm, at the center of the fire element in the body, the center of boundaries, the center of action, the center of our sense of self-sovereignty, self-actualization, standing in our power. Take 4 more breaths. And release everything out on a little cough. Now bring it in. Arms float up around the head as you do. And take the hands at the center, hold the breath for a second, and then exhale out through the nose, slowly down. And then just open up the body. I'm going to take 2 more rounds of that Kapalabhati. And let's do it all together with the hands in the fire mudra at the Manipura center, and feel into that, burning that inner flame, lighting your inner flame of courage, of strength, of capacity to step in and to be at some edges of discomfort in order to use your voice, in order to turn towards rather than turning away from what you really want to address, what's really concerning you, whatever it is in your life or in the collective. So again, exhaling, inhale, let it come in. You can take this slower or faster. Thirty more seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release it out with a inhale up. Let the breath come in long, deep. Let it drop down below the diaphragm, oxygenating. Take a pause with the inhale, and then when you feel that you need to release the breath, do it with control, coming down like you're making a noise, like a tire, like there's a little hole in a tire or like a balloon that you're just barely letting the air out. And release. And just hold it open and just notice what you notice. We'll take a moment here just to be open. If your knees are locked, release that, but feel the sense of elongation in your body. Tuck the chin towards your chest a little. Feel your spine. Feel that sense of your own spine. What it is that like you ground yourself in, you lift yourself in, that you scaffold yourself with. Think of 3 core values right now. 3 core values that you hold that have to do with the way you want to orient in the world, the way you want to show up, your sankalpa, what you're committed to presencing as much as you can, and what you're committed to becoming more skillful at presencing and supporting the realization of in your life, your relationships, your community. So just take a moment and feel into that. Just let them come. 3 words that hold that for you. And then just whatever those 3 words are, right? Merge them, bring them alongside this energy of courage, this energy of presencing at our edges, of really showing up, face forward, not in an aggressive way, not in a insistent or urgent way, although, we're strong in it and there's insistence and urgency, of course, but that we're lensing through courage, through readiness. And those 3 words, one may be love or care, which, we sometimes associate, right, with a softness, with a, but bring it alongside, right, a courageous quality, a ready to be really fully engaged with, presencing even a fierce love. And just hold that quality together and just feel what that feels like. And just notice what comes up in your system. Again, these practices are, meant to be, like repetitive, slowly integrating muscle building, muscle in terms of skill building, the muscles of our relational muscles, our emotional muscles, the inner qualities, the non-material aspects of our strength, but that we do it over and over in small ways, and we're present to what comes up so that we can make these changes. We can show up stronger, more courageous, more willing. And then take a moment, we'll do one more round and just bring that all, right? Place all of that, those three things, that desire that you have, how you want to presence and add and be contributive to whatever right now is that place and space in your life that's at the front and center for you. Place it right here, like in the heart, in Manipura, combining the air. The quality of the heart is air, ebbing and flowing, giving and receiving. And the fire in the heart, the energy that supports us, the courage that supports us, the presence of self, that really taking responsibility for all that we have to bring and bringing it, right there. And then holding those two together as we do the Kapalabhati one more time. So we'll take that. Thirty seconds. Release. Take the next breath out. Inhale. Reach it up tall. Hold a little moment as the breath is in, and then exhale. And release. And just take a moment and open up. And now we're going to end with a 3-part breath. So we're going to take all that power and that focus in Manipura that we built in the fiery center and connecting into the heart. And now we're going to take that and we're going to move that energy down into the hips with our breath, into a really sense of grounded power. And then we're going to move it into our chest in the sense of like heart-centered power. And then we're going to move it up into the throat and into the head. So it's got this intelligence with it, right? Bringing in the strategic, the capacity, the throat chakra is for purification. So, and thinking about here, the alignment of our inner and outer dialogue, this area of ourselves, right? The way we're thinking about whatever it is that we're bringing these qualities to and this orientation to, and however we're talking about it, that can come into alignment with this deep presencing of these 3 qualities that you've called to mind for yourself, and along with the courage and the strength and the turning towards and the really meeting wholly and fully. So take a moment and just open up, and you can lean, just kind of loosen the body. So there's a sense that like there's that strength and there's that uprightness, but there's also like a fluidity, right? We're not rigid, we're fluid in this, in our power and in our strength. And then take the next exhale together, all the breath out. And as you inhale, let the breath come in through the nose, down into the low belly, into the hips, really filling that space first, then pausing for a moment, then bringing the breath up, filling the chest, the heart space, back of the heart, sides of the heart, and then pausing for a moment, and then filling at the upper chest, into the throat, into the third eye center. And then as you exhale, just slowly let the breath out, long, clear breath. And then we'll take 4 more breaths like this. Inhaling, low belly, pause, inhale to the chest, pause, inhale up to the top of the chest, the head. Hold this fullness for a moment, spreading this warmth, spreading this heat, spreading this courage, spreading this commitment, spreading this stepping in. And as you exhale, just slowly, slowly, slowly let it out. And of course, you're going to be taking your own breath pattern that meets you. If these holds are too long, if the sections of the breath are too long, just do it your own way. But the point is to begin at the low body and then pause. Breathe into the middle section, heart, pause. Breathe up into the throat, the third eye, the frontal lobe, pause. And then hold it for a moment. Feel that sense of your whole system expanding, warm, ready, imbued with these 3 qualities. And then as you exhale, all the way out, 3 more. And really feel into the energetics of those qualities. Breathing up and then pausing, filling and then pausing. Those qualities that came to mind for you, that you most want to presence. And then as you exhale, just feel it all like moving and settling, those qualities, and that how they feel, how they show up in the world, how they speak, how they presence, settling into your bones, into your cells, into your tissue. 2 more. Last time. Really holding, opening, feel yourself the most expansive, even beyond your skin, these qualities emanating from you, presencing through you, from you, in you, into the space around you. And then release your last breath. And then 1 more breath, just bring it up around your body, taking your hands over your head in Anjali Mudra, drawing it down to the third eye. May this practice support us to meet with the fullness of our courage, our commitment to how we want to be in the world, how we want to meet the world and our lives in every way. May our speech, inner dialogue and outer speech, come more in alignment with these qualities as we move through the world. Take a deep inhale. Exhale down, trace your nose, really feel with that sense of touch, your hands on your nose, breathing at the mouth, at the third eye, at the mouth, the center of communication, blessing the inner dialogue. And also, as we stopped at the forehead, may we see the possibilities. May this practice support us to see, to have the perspective of where are the places and spaces, where are the opportunities. May we see them, may we feel them, so that we know and we can step into them and bring this courage and these qualities. And then take an inhale, and then tracing down the chin, down the throat, down the chest, and then press your thumbs right into your heart center and feel the beating of your own heart, and just bow to your heart and see those three qualities, whatever they are for you. See them shining at the center of your heart, extending from your heart and being fueled by the heat in your belly and your gut instinct and your capacity, not your fear instinct, not your fear mind, your fear body, but the gut instinct. The gut will tell you when to get out of some situation, like the gut, but it's a prompting. It's an instant knowing. It's not the fear that spins us in indecision or in, keeps us holding back, but just really honoring the connection between your heart, what you're centering in your way of showing up, and your gut, the strength, the courage that backs you up, and your gut knowing that you can really rely on in a deep way. Take a deep inhale and exhale, gently release. Thank you very much. If you've persisted with me to this point, for coming all the way through, I feel much more prepared and centered to keep going in this day and head into the actions that are ahead of me this weekend, and presence, more intentionally in that. And that's why I pulled myself out for this pause and invited you to come with me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to have you join me in deeper practices, one-on-one or in groups. Really excited about Tanya and my Leaning In retreat in Portugal. You could still jump in, but we do have a gorgeous group. We'll be gathering together on the 27th and really doing deep work, elemental work, deep systems work in our own selves, with and in place, drawing on our intuitive wisdom and our instinctual knowing that, in my opinion, in my personal experience, is most vitally honed when I really, really spend deep time with the instinctual knowing and the intuitive intelligence of the world and the natural systems around us. So anyway, that's enough of that. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for showing up however you're showing up in your communities and in your families in the way that is bringing those qualities forward.